Hey there, folks, and welcome to Macho Meals. For each, I'll have you and yours saying, "Ooh, yeah, 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 yeah." Today on Macho Meals, my special guest is this 3.5-pound brisket, who will be cooking to perfection. Now, this process is actually going to work the same no matter if your brisket's 2 pounds, 3.5, or a mind-boggling 12 or higher pounds. It's not really a big deal, because the methodology with brisket is cooking at low temperatures for a long-ass time, or to make it short, we cook it low and slow. Now, traditionally, you would cook this thing in a smoker, but most people don't really have one of those just laying around, you know? So we'll be using a much more common method, being a gas oven. Again, it's going to be the same, not a big problem. Also, you'll notice that this little fella is already all nice and trim for us, and for the most part, that's how it's going to be for you. But if it isn't trimmed, you'll want to trim up all of that, except for maybe a quarter or a half inch on the top. We leave that there because as this thing is marinating, well, it marinates in its own juices as they come down through it, through the forces of gravity. It's pretty awesome, actually. Now, before we put this little fella in the oven, though, we need to give it a little bit of spice. Well, let me see what I have on the table as far as spices are concerned. Oh, what do we have here? Well, we have 6 teaspoons black pepper. Black pepper's kind of your traditional thing in American cooking whenever you're doing meat, you know. Speaking of which, we also have a teaspoon of white salt. Any kind of salt, really. But we only have a teaspoon of that. Not too much. Not too much at all. Also, none of this is science. You don't have to worry too much. You can add a little more, a little less. You can actually alter it to your taste, you know. That's why we cook, actually, because we can make it preferable to our taste and preferable to our guests, you know. Pretty awesome. Alright, what else we got here? We also have a teaspoon of dried mustard. That'll actually make it a little buttery. You know, the fat on that little rascal is gonna make it buttery already. This will make it even more buttery. Ooh, what else we got? Well, you know, since we aren't smoking this thing, we can actually cheat a little. And that's why we have a teaspoon of smoked paprika right here. The smoked paprika will make it a little smoky, you know? Even though we're not using the smoker. Pretty awesome. And then we also have a teaspoon of onion powder here, like the dry mustard. That also brings out the buttery panache of that little tasty bastard back there. Alright, and lastly, we have half a teaspoon of cayenne pepper, just because you need a little zazz on there. Something to make it a little spicy. Ooh, yeah. Well, that's all the spices. Let's go ahead and apply it to the meat. Alright, not a big deal. Just go ahead and shake it down here. In fact, I think I'll just go ahead and mix it up on a plate. Not a big deal. I was thinking I'd be able to just put in that bowl. You know what? It's not really going to fit in there. I could actually put the whole damn roast in here. Well, we'll not be doing that. No. You got to be a little personal with your piece of meat. I'll show you what I mean just a moment. As soon as I get this all nice and mixed up, we want to have a nice uniform color. Yeah. Oh, that's looking good. Alright, doesn't matter if we make a mess either. I mean, we can clean up later. Still not really mixed up enough. There you go. Really, you should be using a bowl for this, but for displaying purposes, I hit it on the paper plate. Either way, we're all ready to go. Let's go ahead and get personal with the meat. So, we go ahead and just put some of this on our hand, and we just kind of slather it on there. Not a big problem. I also didn't indicate what pan I'm using. I'm actually using a broiler pan right here. You'll notice it has slots in it. That'll make it so the grease will actually fall through to the bottom of the pan, so it won't burn its own juices. That would be terrible. It wouldn't be terrible. It just wouldn't be as sumptuous as if we actually had these slots. So, a broiler plate or pan or whatever you want to call it is pretty awesome for this kind of thing. You can also just use like a metal grate with something under it. Not a big problem. Also, that piece of fat came off. Do not worry. It is absolutely fine. See, we're getting personal with the meat. You know, you gotta lay your hands on it, give it some loving. You know, that extra ingredient will go a long way. Ooh, yeah. Alright, that's looking nice and uniformly covered, as you can see right there. Now we need to do the bottom side of it. Again, we're not afraid of this piece of meat. No, it's a friend. A tasty little morsel. Yeah. Alright. It's sort of a weird brisket here. I usually don't see like a line of fat going right here, but we'll leave it there. Let's see how it turns out. could be really good, you know? You gotta try different things. You'll never know what it tastes like if you don't try it, right? Right. That's how we learned how tasty things were in the beginning, right? That's how we learned about new tasty things. Alright, this is looking pretty good. Got another spot right there. Let's go ahead and get that all nice and plastered. Yeah. And we also have the end. I don't really have to put stuff on here, but I'm going to. Because why not? Right? Really, we're putting excess of spice on here because as it cooks, it will go into the meat. And you really don't have to worry about putting too much spice on it. It's just like actually a roast. It's the same kind of methodology. You put a bunch on the outside and it seeps on in. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Some good stuff there. Can't wait. This thing's gonna be awesome. Alright, this thing's all ready to go. Now, let me go ahead and wash my hands because, of course, I have been handling our little friend here, and he is covered with all sorts of disease, probably. And, you know, I'd rather not spread that to myself or others, so I'll go wash my hands and be right back. Alright, all spick and span. Now we're back with our little friend here. We don't need those spices anymore. Now you're going to be wondering, alright, so we have this thing all lathered up and ready to go. How long is it going to take, and how high do we set the oven? Well, it's going to be 250 degrees Fahrenheit. It's important. I know some of you people are from Euroland. There's still Macho people over there, right? That's right. Well, anyway, I don't know what the Celsius is, but I'm sure enough that you guys can figure it out on your own. But anyway, it's 250 degrees Fahrenheit for 1.5 hours per pound. Again, I don't know what the metric is for pounds, the conversion. I'm sure you can figure it out for this 3.5 pound monster. Anyway, the exact calculation for this one is something around 5.25 hours. Now, it really doesn't matter. You know, you can cook it a little longer, and it's not going to be a problem, because at 250 degrees, stuff doesn't really burn that quick. I mean, that's just boiling point. That's just over boiling point for water. This little thing doesn't care. He doesn't care at all. He's just going to simmer in his bed and have a great time. It's like a sauna in there, you know? You can leave him in 5.5 or 6 hours, and it's not really going to be a big deal. Now, before we put him in, we will want to go ahead and use some aluminum foil to keep in all of its heat, you know? Just so it cooks a little more efficiently. And we're just going to go ahead and wrap that on there. You also may have noticed that I have aluminum foil underneath the grate as well. That's only for my convenience. Because all that fat is going to be messy at the end. And, you know, I'm macho and everything, but I have other things to do than clean up freaking pots and pans. Alright, so he is all ready to go into the oven. It's going to be delicious. We'll go ahead and set this mother for, let's see, bake. 250 degrees Fahrenheit, remember. Alright. We're going to have the rack in the middle. And of course, I got to wait for this. Wait for this rascal to go ahead and preheat. But you can imagine that I'm just going to slip it in after that transpires, alright? So I'll see you in about 5.5, maybe even 6 hours when this little bastard is all ready to eat. Alright? I'll see you then. Ooh, yeah. Alright, folks, it's been about 5.5 hours, so it's time to see how we did. First, throw out a couple of hot pads. Don't want to get anything burnt. And we'll go ahead and lift this little rascal out of the oven. Let's see how we did. Oh, it smells delicious, by the way. Fills the entire house with this delicious aroma. You can hear it sizzling as I bring it out here. It'll be pretty amazing. I'm looking forward to this. Go ahead and turn up the oven. No safety first. Alright, let's take a look. Let's take a little look-see here. If I can get my fingers underneath this foil. Can't do it the hot pad. Gonna have to do it the dangerous way. We'll be alright. Alright. Oh, yeah. The aroma's fueling my nose. No, this is weird. It's never turned out like this before. Oh man, I'm gonna have to reposition the camera so you guys can get a better look at this. 1 second. Alright folks, I've repositioned the camera so you can get an eyeful of what I was seeing. I mean, it looks weird. It still looks good. But let me show you exactly what we're looking at. This is the announcement for Unreal Saturday 2015. You thought it was a cooking video. Turns out it was an elaborate ruse. April 18th,
2015 is Unreal Saturday, and it starts at 10 a.m. Mountain Daylight Time. The events will include assault, bombing run, double domination, and invasion. Additionally, of course, we will have some vehicle capture the flag. Those interested in watching the events live will find a stream over at hitbox.tv/lethalfeline the day of the event. And if for whatever reason you cannot watch it live, fear not, because the stream will be uploaded to YouTube, probably in even higher quality. For those interested in participating in the festivities, well, you will find server details the day of the event on the hitbox.tv/lethalfeline page. Everyone is invited to attend and participate, whether you're a seasoned veteran or fresh meat.